What is up, X Factor? Welcome into the PHNX Mercury podcast. My name's Adam.
I'm Hayden.
And let's go. We're up for the new season. We're up for the new show. It's time to be here. It's time to get crazy.
Let's go. Call it a rebrand if you
for sure. You might notice that the show looks a little different if you saw us last season. We're here to guide you through this roller coaster of a Mercury year. So we just wanted to start with some introductions about ourselves, just so you get to know us a little bit. And Hayden, I'll let you go first.
Perfect. So I'm Hayden Silly. This is my first time ever working with PHNX Sports. I covered the Mercury last season for an independent outlet called The Next Hoops, led by Howard Megdal, my former boss. Was a lot of fun covering the team, I will say. I felt like a fish out of water for quite some time. I won't lie to you. Especially still being a student at the Cronkite School and covering a professional team for the first time was truly a blessing. Like it was amazing. You know, it's only something I could thank the man upstairs for, to be honest. But happy to be here. Happy to go through this season with you. And yeah, I mean, that's basically all I got about me. But what about you?
All right. Well, I mean, I'm considerably older than Hayden.
That might be a recurring theme throughout this show.
I've been out of school for a minute, but I've been a Mercury fan my whole life. I'm born and mostly raised here in Arizona. All the big four sports, plus the Mercury, plus the Rattlers, plus the Rising are all my jam. So I don't know if anyone can see, but I got a cardinal on my arm. That happens to be the only one. Probably a bad choice. Anyway, so let's see. I've been a Mercury fan for a long time. My mom's name is Cynthia. My last name is Cooper. So you can imagine when I started really paying attention when the Cynthia Cooper was our head coach. But yeah, I mean, it's great to be here. I've been on with PHNX for a few months now. Saul and Espo and Jacob and everybody have treated me great. So we're ready to rock.
Yes, I want to give a special shout out to our boy Aiden Wool. He's going to be our producer within the next few weeks or so, and happy to have him on the Mercury squad.
Absolutely, he's going to be a lot of help for sure. So let's get right into it, man. Let's stop talking about us. Let's talk about the Mercury, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what a way to start other than Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm,
BG's return, spoke to the media for the first time since she came back from a wrongful detainment in Russia. I was very fortunate to be there and to witness it. And it was definitely a roller coaster of emotions, a lot of crying, a lot of gratitude, and just a lot of joy. And the one thing that I thought really stood out was, man, she's funny. BG is, man, she's funny. And I think it's really cool to see just her in a good place with good health and just a lot of gratitude. I'm excited for what the season's really going to bring.
Yeah, the team definitely missed her. The fans missed her. I missed her. Honestly, I miss her hair. if I'm being totally honest right now, but it'll grow back. It all grows back. What do you think the rest of the team feels with her being back, though?
Oh, it's like it's a sigh of relief. It's a huge sigh of relief.
Mm-hmm.
I remember quite frequently throughout the season there would be these national media outlets that would show up to Mercury games if we're at home. And some of the other local reporters and we would always sort of play a little guessing game to see like, oh, okay, who's gonna ask the question about BG,
mm-hmm.
who's gonna be doing that. But we talked a lot with players at training camp yesterday and today, and there's just a big sigh of relief. The energy is there that she brings that a lot of players, especially Skylar Diggins-Smith and D, talked about last season.
Mm-hmm.
Just that energy that BG brings that you can't really get from any other player. But I mean, definitely a huge, huge sigh of relief. And plus, I want to throw back to the jokes because she called D, and I quote, a walking fossil. I was like, dang, you got some big ones to really call Diana Taurasi probably the greatest player in the history of the WNBA, a walking fossil.
Right. What was DT's response?
She basically said, I'm gonna see if I can pull it up right here. She basically said, at least I don't look like I'm 40.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
sure.
well, classic Diana Taurasi response. Actually, I pulled up the whole quote here. Ageism is very appropriate these days, so I'll take it. The beauty about that is we're all going to get old.
I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, it's definitely a huge weight off the shoulders of the rest of the team to have BG back. It's almost like drafting her all over again, except you know what she's going to be in the W. So, I mean, it's kind of a great thing to have her and to put her into this team that we already had some extra role players show up.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean,
what is it?
I mean, speaking of role players, I mean, Mariah Jefferson, right?
Absolutely.
I thought that was huge. But going back to just BG, I mean, it's not even off the court, though. It's on the court, man. Like, in 2021, she helped lead the team in blocks with 5.2. They were, I believe, second in free throw attempts as well. Like, they were great, man. And, when you have that anchor back, and I know that Coach Nygaard specifically talked about, my system was built for BG. It was built around her skill set. I'm just really excited to see just how it's going to be able to all play out this season.
Absolutely. Definitely going to be a big help on the court in addition to off the court. So I haven't had a chance to make it out to training camp yet, but I know you have been for the past 2 days. What's the biggest takeaway so far?
Well, one, the drive from Glendale to the Verizon 5G Center is really far and it's long. But that's the only complaint I have. It's a vibe out there. It's a vibe in the Valley. It's a vibe at Verizon 5G Center. The aura in the room it's calm, it's collected, but it's fun. There's a lot of pace. There's a lot of I saw some games happening, and when I was talking about Mariah, I'll talk about her here. Diana Taurasi talked about how there's a balance, how and it's refreshing to have some young players to mix in with the veterans. Obviously Sophie Cunningham, Brianna Turner, Breezy, and and then Mariah. Like, you have that sort of that oomph, that emphasis on that youth and just moving the ball, getting out fast. Like, let's just run and gun. And Diana talked a lot about how that's really helped and how it's honestly sort of helped her get into a really good rhythm as the season or as training camp progresses and as the preseason kicks off in a couple weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, BG was there. I mean, spoke a little bit. I mean, she came from the White House, so props to my homegirl BG for making the flight from DC to Phoenix. I've flown from New York to Arizona. That's rough. So I can imagine how those East Coast flights might feel. But yeah, just long story short,
a little bit of a tangent, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, but long story short, it's a vibe. Everybody's feeling good. And it's just more seeing who's gonna make the 12-person roster.
Right. Have there been any standouts so far from the rookies specifically?
Nothing yet. Nothing that I've gotten, unfortunately. Again, we're only 2 days into training camp, so take it with a grain of salt. But we got the chance to speak with Destiny Harden today, who, Nygaard talked highly about her toughness, the physicality, which is always something that I think a lot of not just WNBA players, but basketball players in general, making that adjustment from college to the pros sort of struggle with. But she's already there, but other than that, nothing too crazy.
All right. I love hearing about Harden. I'm definitely excited to see if she makes the roster.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a great addition, I feel like. She's definitely nasty on the court. When it comes to being nasty on the court, I feel like BG has that title.
Oh,
but yeah. She could definitely add an extra edge to the game. Let's see. So you spoke with Diana, right? And she discussed the pace of play. I remember last season there was a lot of, the team ended up 15-21, wound up getting swept out of the first round by the eventual champion Aces. So there's that at least. But the pace of play last season was kind of middle of the road. It was in a transition period. If we look at it, we want to, like, as a fan myself, I want them to play as fast as possible because, I grew up on the 7 seconds or less Suns. I watch the NBA now, and the pace of play is just incredible. It's if your team is not gassed by the fourth quarter, you can definitely run some people out of the gym in the fourth. So I would like to see the young players really push the pace. And I want Diana to be a part of that, obviously.
Oh, yeah. And a big part of that pace, Nygaard has talked a lot about this, not just during this time with training camp, but all of last year's, that she wants them to run and gun. She wants them to shoot a lot of threes, like threes and layups, basically, is her formula. And I pulled up this from WNBA.com. Post All-Star break, they were first in the W in three-pointers attempted in the 12 games after the All-Star break with almost 28 threes a game, and they hit about 9.3 to be exact, which was third best in the league at that time. You had Mariah Jefferson, who, as I'm looking at here, is about a 41% career three-point shooter.
That's knocked down.
Yeah, Diana Taurasi, the most three-point field goals in WNBA history. Sophie Cunningham, a 40% free throw shooter. 40% three-point shooter.
There you go.
And BG's attempted more threes, in 2020 and then 2021. I mean, she hit, about over 40%. Granted, it was less than one attempt a game, but still even having that threat is great. But
we talked off air about BG being able to shoot the three.
Yeah.
And that is a major factor to me because the ability to play 5 out against these other teams is just incredible, especially when your 5 is 6'9" and still out.
Yeah, when you have the most dominant center in the W, I'm not just talking from a physicality standpoint. BG has phenomenal touch. It's something that I think all big players on the W side as well as the NBA would really aspire to have. The shooting touch, the footwork, everything is just spectacular. But like you said, I mean, her mid-range game is fantastic. And the best part is that, Adam, like, she can set a screen and she could take 2 steps out from, like 2 steps inside the 3-point line, knock down a 18-foot jump shot all day long. And so maybe it doesn't even have to be threes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe it could just be, like I don't want to give a player comp, but like a Marcus Aldridge, right?
There you go.
Great mid-range shooter, pick and pop threat.
Great rebounder on top of that.
Yeah. I mean, and BG is everything. And, don't even get me started on the playmaking side. Like, dude, it does help when you're 6'9". You can see over everybody. I know that helps, but the vision that she has is awesome. I mean, gosh, I can't wait to see her play, man. I really can't.
Absolutely. We could have a whole show on what she could do. But let's move into the rest of the W, right? Just as a small preemptive look so far at the rest of the league, we had some major trades this offseason, and not only with the Mercury, but especially with teams like the Liberty, happen to have 3 all WNBA players on their team now. I mean, that's kind of a big deal. And then we had Candace Parker going to the Aces, the defending champion Aces. I am scared. If I'm being honest, I'm scared. Yeah, I'm a little scared. Just because of the Aces already have so much firepower, and it's adding Candace Parker. Sorry, adding Candace Parker is just. It's like the Suns adding Kevin Durant. It's like that extra oomph that they're gonna need to just take over the league, and they already won the championship. I'm I'm kind of waiting to see what they're going to be able to do here.
We also talked about this off air a couple weeks ago. How would I say it? I would say it like this. I would say that Breonna Stewart would be more of the KD addition, but Candace Parker takes away so much. She takes so much attention off of A'ja Wilson.
Yeah.
That A'ja Wilson is dominant enough as it is. I mean, you want to talk about a true 5-out offense, Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah.
And with Candace Parker, who has shown that she's a fantastic playmaker, as well as a rebounder. I think she had over 8 rebounds last season.
She did.
And everybody's gonna say, well, her point production dropped off. It's not why Vegas brought her in. Vegas didn't bring her in to drop 20 every single game. Right. They didn't ask her to be that 2016 MVP Candace Parker. They asked her to come in, obviously to give some veteran leadership, but to take the load off of A'ja Wilson, Kelsey Plum. And I'm telling you, man, as long as they have Becky Hammon down in Sin City, I don't think anybody's running through them.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe the Mercury might. Maybe it's BG's revenge tour.
That's kind of what I'm feeling, honestly, from Brittney Griner. It's just she's so happy to be back, and she's so happy to be back with her teammates that I think that she's going to be extra motivated this season. Honestly, we might see, 23 points and 12 rebounds a game. Like we might be looking at something crazy. But yeah, with the Aces, it's going to be a problem going through them in the West, and then we haven't even spoken about the Liberty.
Oh yeah,
like
that's right.
Oh man, with a team that was already as good as they were with Ionescu and just their pace of play, it's interesting adding so many big names to a concoction like that. And I'm really curious if they're going to be able to gel as much as they need to. The WNBA season is long, but it's still not that long. And I'm wondering if they're going to have some growing pains at the beginning of the year.
I got you. I do want to ask you, what team, I mean, there's very few that have been this stacked, right? But is there a team you could think of that has had as much firepower as this Liberty squad?
No. I mean, the Olympic team, maybe? The FIBA team? Like, I don't know. It's definitely, it's something that I'm looking forward to seeing how it works. Because I am a little skeptical that they're going to be able to make it work. Just with the one basketball, and I know that there's a lot of usage between those stars that they have. So I'm kind of secretly hoping it doesn't work. But I mean, at the same time, it probably will, and it'll be amazing. But we've got the greatest of all time on our team, and we've got Brittney Griner, we've got Skylar Diggins-Smith when she comes back, and we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. This season will be a lot of fun. I even think for this W season as a whole, there's going to be a lot of unpredictability. I mean, and don't forget about the Sparks too. I mean, they still have the Ogwumike sisters. They brought in Zaya Cook, which I thought was a sleeper draft pick. I don't know how she fell that far, but you still have them to compete with Kurt Miller going over there as well. Like, there's just, I know everybody's looking at Vegas and the Liberty as the two superstar teams, which I totally get and I 100% understand. But don't sleep on other teams, man. There's been in all sports, NHL, NFL, NBA, this season in particular, there's been a lot of upsets in the playoffs.
The parity has been prolific.
Exactly. So all I'm saying is don't rule it out. Don't rule out a possible big upset.
Absolutely. I think that it's going to be a strange season. I feel like it's going to be a strange season. If you look at the NBA this year, the parity in the Western Conference was insane. Um, the Suns made it to the 4th seed and still only had less than 60 games won, or less than 55 games won. Sorry, and it's something that these teams were kind of tearing each other apart. Um, I feel like a few seasons removed now from the wobble, um, and with all of the moving around uh, during the off season from different stars and from different superstars, even we're going to have a lot of strange things happen, and I feel like it might be a little tougher for these super teams than they think it might be.
Oh yeah, there's something I'm trying to pull up if I can find it in time. Christina in our chat brought up something really interesting with the big games. It says right here, the WNBA will collaborate with ESPN to present up to 52 possible games, beginning with the regular season and into the playoffs.
52.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I think that's crazy. And I think the Mercury have 2 of those games at the beginning of the season, back to back, against the Sparks on the 19th of May, which is that Friday, and then their home opener against the Chicago Sky, which
Absolutely.
I've been meaning to ask BG about that, because the last game she played was against Chicago. Now, granted, they don't have Candace Parker, but they still have Kalea Copper. And basically, I mean, I don't want to say they still have that whole squad, but
they kind of do, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's other. I mean, Candace Parker was the big name that left, and I'm just curious if there's going to be a little extra sort of motivation or a little oomph that she might play with in that home opener.
Yeah, it might be a good thing, honestly, with her leaving on that team and then coming back on that team, because then it might help her feel more comfortable.
Oh yeah,
just being back in the league, because it was the last thing that she dealt with.
Yeah.
Except there's no Candace Parker, so it might be a little easier.
Oh yeah. I did want to ask you though, sort of, because we talked about who might be on the team or whatnot. Is there anybody in particular, if it's one of the rookies, if it's Destiny Harden or Kadi Sissoko, or if it's a returning player like someone like a Sam Thomas or a Jennie Simms, like, is there one player in particular you would really love to see just ride the whole season out with the Mercury?
Yeah, exactly, Jordan. It would be like she had never left. Exactly. When it comes to that player, though, I think Sam Thomas is going to be a major factor. But I think that I would love to see one of the rookies stay on the team, and that rookie is Kadi Sissoko.
Okay.
Watching her film and watching her play at USC, she kind of reminds me, and don't get it twisted because I'm not saying she is, but she kind of reminds me of Mikal Bridges in the way that she is able to shoot and start to create off the dribble. She isn't knocked down per se, but her footwork is spectacular. In the post, it's something to behold. I really enjoy watching her game, and if she can hold her own defensively, and possibly, learn from the stalwarts on our team, like Breezy and like BG, about how to really help on that help defense, then I think that she would be a great addition, because like I said, that footwork is it's insane.
Perfect. There's one name I brought up and I actually forgot to mention in my example. The Old Dominion point guard, Jennie Simms.
Jennie Simms.
Oh gosh, I could go on and on and on about Jennie Simms. I just think she's great. She stepped into a huge role last season, especially with Sky missing the last 4 games of the season. And she stepped into she was huge. She had 16 points and 6 assists against the Dallas Wings that basically clinched the Phoenix Mercury into their 10th consecutive playoff spot. And there's a lot of 3-point shooting, a lot of defensive versatility as well. I mean, she's 6 feet. and a guard, so she can switch from from playing guard to playing forward. And we've seen Nygaard do that quite a bit throughout last season as well. I just hope that she'll be able to get more of an opportunity. I mean, she played 13 minutes off the bench last season, more than she ever has, and really took advantage of the opportunity. I mean, had those 4 starts as well. But I mean,
with Mariah Jefferson coming to the team, is she going? Do you think she'll be able to get more minutes at this point?
They might stagger it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because Sky is an all-W first-team point guard. You are not going to replicate her production. But you have Mariah Jefferson, who plays a little bit similar, who, obviously Mariah is undersized at 5'4", but a lot of defense that she plays, very good, active with her hands, great at getting steals, good 3-point shooter. So I think there might be more of an opportunity for Jennie, just because she's not going to, like, Nygaard's not going to play Mariah Jefferson 34, 35, 36 minutes a game.
Right.
She might play her more, 28, 29, 30. And then, you can have Jennie sort of leading the second unit.
Right. Well, then there's the start of the season, too. Sky's going to be gone for an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah.
You have Mariah Jefferson penciled in as the starter. It's possible that Jennie could be the 6th woman. Yeah. Something like that. I guess it all depends on how training camp unfolds.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and speaking of 6th woman, I think there's one in particular that kind of stands out that is really going under the radar. That would be Megan Gustafson.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, she is. Not only is she great, but Pancake. Come on. Pancake is adorable. I have seen Pancake in person, and I was never a fan of corgis until I saw Pancake Gustafson, I will say.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you're watching Megan Gustafson, you have turned me into a corgi lover, so thank you. But her development of the 3-point shot has been unbelievable, mainly since last season. Took a lot of steps just as a player, as a whole. Great rebounder. I mean,
she plays bigger than she is.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
She won the Naismith Player of the Year. Like, let's not forget, she was dominant. A 24-12 player in her prime in college. I mean, she can definitely offer that. I think the biggest problem is when it comes to switching, especially off pick and rolls, because a lot of these guards are too quick, or a lot of the bigs are too quick, and they'll roll off of her too easy. Yeah. There's never been an issue like with her playing post defense, because she has a really strong upper body.
She has a good anchor, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the main reason why she really hasn't been starting is, I mean, obviously now because of BG, but a lot of that sort of, I don't want to be mean, but defensive shortcomings, at least on the pick and roll. But hey,
slower feet definitely lead to easier shots for the other team.
But hey, her offense makes up for it. Those, for sure. As my old coach once told me, I shouldn't say old coach because I never played, but as people always told me, 3 is worth more than 2. So
the math is math, as Gerald Bourguet would say.
Oh yes.
Hopefully the Mercury are able to make him proud this season, Gerald. I mean.
Oh yes.
Because they're going to be shooting a lot of 3s.
Yes, shout out to Mr. Bourguet. He's in Denver right now, representing PHNX Suns.
Absolutely. We hope that game goes a little better tonight.
Hope it goes better. Yes.
We hope the maths today.
Exactly. Yes, we do hope the maths today.
Shoot the dang ball.
That's right. So yeah, I think we're going to take it a little short today, just because it's a nice introduction to us and a nice introduction to you guys in the chat. And we're going to be back next week with some more cool information.
Oh yeah. Oh, we'll tune you guys into what happens with Media Day on Wednesday, as well as the rest of the week for training camp and heading into the preseason. So stay with us for the ride. It should be a fun one.
Yeah, absolutely. Catch us on Twitter at PHNX_Mercury. And I am at the Mythical AC.
Perfect. And I'm at Hayden Silly, HaydenCilley. And yes, Silly is my last name. So feel free to make all the jokes in the comments that you guys want.
He is quite silly.
See,
anyway,
there's one. Too bad we can't add it in.
So yeah, we'll see you next week. X Factor. Have a good one. and we'll see you.